I'm going to stand outside the podium here. So, good evening, everybody. I can't tell you what an honor and a privilege it is to be here to speak to you this evening here, and what we believe is an inflection point happening in the Indian market that we are looking forward to doing our part to serve the healthcare community and all the scientific communities here in India that also extends globally. So my name is Greg Milosevich. I'm the Executive Vice President of Life Sciences for Danaher. I've been at Danaher for 15 years. So joined through an acquisition years ago. I now manage the 11 life science operating companies in Danaher. That's about 20,000 associates and about 7.5 billion in revenue. I get the privilege of working with Danaher and working with all of you. To me, this is not a job. I have an intense desire to drive a difference in how we can drive healthcare and save patients, treat patients, to have a better outcome for all of us, for our families. And that's what motivates me to do what I do. And that's what motivates all of us at Danaher here. So looking forward to sharing a bit more with all of you here this evening. Okay. Let's see here. So first, across Danaher, for those who don't know, this is all the operating companies. These are all the operating companies in Danaher. So we are organized in 3 segments. We have our biotechnology group, which is largely Cytiva. We have our life sciences group, which is all of the operating companies I've mentioned prior. They're organized in really 3 different segments. We have our analytical tools groups. We have our life science omics groups, which is antibodies, mRNAs, oligos, recurring revenue types of products. And then we have our software businesses, being Gene Data and IDBS, which are an important tool and asset that we think everybody needs to be thinking about, is not just creating data, but how do you manage and extract insight from this data. And then we also have the Pharma Corporation here as well, that is our large applied market business. Then lastly, we have our diagnostic businesses. All of these are established brand names. One thing about Danaher is we manage and leverage Danaher for the broader markets, but we believe in maintaining the brand names of the operating companies that you have come to know and trust over many years. And so that's why we have all these brands listed. Those brands are going to always be with us here, because we think the reputation and brand that is built up is really valuable as we move forward, and we'll bring Danaher in on top of that. And ultimately, we are now, as Danaher has evolved over the years, we are a life science and diagnostic innovator, and we're about leveraging the power of science and technology to improve healthcare. And that's what our commitment is about. So I'll let you synthesize on this slide. You know all of this. I'll give you my perspective on this slide. I mentioned earlier that we are at an inflection point. We look at the aging population, the commitment that India has to healthcare. We believe over the next decade, this is going to be the strongest secular growth driver in healthcare globally. It's very powerful to think that way, but that's how we view it. And so we are making significant investments here that we're starting with already. Even though we've been in these markets for many, many years with individual operating companies, these are investments that we are making at Danaher to basically leverage the opportunity ahead of us here and to improve how we can discover and treat patients and disease. So why now? Why so late? So I mentioned prior that the legacy slide there goes back over 3 decades, where many of our operating companies have been in India for quite some time, providing solutions that are what I call endpoint solutions. They have a specific product for a specific application, and that has provided a lot of value to a lot of scientists here. But if you move forward in terms of where we're going, we are now building out capabilities as a platform in life sciences and as Danaher. So what does that mean? You look at the timeline there, we've actually acquired many companies here in Danaher in the life sciences segment. We are focusing on where we can, again, provide value to customers and bring novel technologies into the Danaher portfolio that we can leverage and build value with the Danaher business system to provide unique benefits to customers. We also are going to market together as well. So we have what we call beacons, or scientific agreements with key institutions that we drive that globally. That's about how we can leverage scientific discovery that's happening in key accounts, in academia, in pharma, in customers that we can leverage and bring into Danaher to provide a broader global solution. We're going to markets and conferences together. So starting about 4 years ago, we went to the first conference, not as individual operating companies, but going as a Danaher portfolio of solutions. We've done that now several times since then. We are expanding that from that one trade show, one conference in 1 year. We'll now be going to over 10 conferences together as Danaher here in 2026 and scaling it up accordingly. We found from a customer perspective that we got twice as many leads, twice as much business out of that going together. And we found the feedback from customers was highly valuable in terms of seeing where there were solutions that they can talk to in one small area that encompass beyond the operating company. And that's the number one thing we've heard from our customers and learned is, I didn't know all of your companies were part of Danaher. We hear that routinely. And that's what led us into the strategic work to go build a platform of solutions we can bring these companies together, provide valuable solutions to save time and money on key customer workflows and problems. And I'll talk a little bit more about that here. So Danaher Life Sciences, one thing we're committed to, we're trying to put quantitative data in here. So we are looking how we can actually improve drug candidate success rates by 25%. Right now, there's a 90% attrition between phase 1 and an NDA or a BLA. 90%, that's a huge amount of waste. And so our focus is on discovery. We want to discover and fail fast on molecules that don't have a lot of potential. And we want to make sure the most promising molecules we're filing an IND have the highest chance of success with our solutions to make it to a druggable candidate. And that's what our commitment is right now. And we want to be the indispensable partner for all of our customers here to help do that. We are uniquely positioned with a very broad portfolio of not just products and services, but scientific talent that can help problem solve with all of you to solve those problems. So we have a three-pronged approach here with our philosophy on how we support and commit to customers. We like to view ourselves as a reliable partner. This is all fueled by the Danaher business system. So our target on-time delivery is always what we call core curriculum at 95%. That means 95 out of 100 orders. We want that order to ship, arrive when you specified that in the purchase order. Breakthrough innovations. We have a statement at Danaher that innovation defines our future. We are in a highly progressive, highly innovative environment here, and we are committed both internally and externally here with our investment thesis to bring new technologies to solve the biggest problems that you're dealing with. And we learn this from our customers. And so our customers are giving us feedback on where their biggest challenges are at that we're trying to develop and launch innovative solutions for. And then continuous improvement. No company is perfect in the world. And so from our perspective, no matter how good we think we do, we can always get better. And so this three-pronged approach of reliable supplier, great quality, on-time delivery, driving innovation to give you cutting-edge technology, and third, continuing to prove how we can serve you better. We are always open to feedback as a company, as myself, on how we can solve challenges faster for you. So here's an example of how we drive a Danaher partnership, and this is with a global pharma company. There's 4 aspects of this. First, we have the innovation piece. So there's examples here of what we've done with a specific company here in terms of how we looked at what are the workflows where you have problems. Problem could be it takes too long. It could be that it costs too much. And we try to map those workflows out, leveraging our scientific solutions team. We then get on board with workshops we call technology days to understand technology to technology, scientist to scientist, where those problems exist and how we can solve them. And then we go through and bring our portfolio to bear here to help bring impact there. Operationally, we're working with our customers on life cycle management. So this is about how can we shorten time, reduce cost. In this specific customer, we saved approaching $2 million here in just 1 year working with the critical instruments that they have with our product portfolio. We also, as Danaher, can structure commercial agreements. These are standard terms, standard deliveries, things that matter most in terms of how we can bring our science and technology groups together to provide value to you. These are things that are difficult to do with an individual operating company, But as Danaher, that's a real unique value we bring to bear that can provide real value to all of you. And lastly is digital. I mean, almost everything we're doing now with customers on innovation has some type of an AI component to it. And there's two aspects of AI. It's AI to drive productivity gains. How can we use AI to help you do more with less people, or have your humans doing more things that are more valuable than routine tasks? And the second area on AI deployment is an innovation. How can we bring AI into our products with agentic AI, bots, for example, to give education, training, and insights on how you can get to answers faster? We've got a several $100 million investment at Danaher when it comes to AI technologies from an innovation perspective and from a productivity perspective that we're looking forward to bringing to the market here over the next several years. Okay. Another example on the bottom here, just a metabolic stability assay using our Echo MS product from SciEx. This was a way to save, again, time element. Time is resources. It's going from 1,500 minutes to 14 minutes on an assay here for DMPK. That's meaningful. And we've got countless examples of where we've been able to do that working together as an organization with Danaher's power and capabilities. We talked about workflows. This is a mapping here of just some of the workflows we've mapped out. So these really all came from customers. In the course of meeting with customers and understanding where are your biggest pain points where you have waste in terms of time, money, where are the problems you're having right now? And these are done through a workshop setting. We've mapped out all these workflows here. There's over 20 here, and organized in monoclonal antibodies, small molecule, RNA, cell and gene therapy, and in general applications here. And these are all applications where we've actually brought meaningful impact to bear for our customers, whether that's, again, time or money savings. And we've listed here all the operating companies that have a solution that works into this portfolio. One thing I want to say is that we work and we present these solutions as Danaher and Danaher Solutions. However, we're realists. We understand that you will have other technologies in your labs, and our team still work with you to leverage what we can with the other technologies you may have here to bring real value here. Okay? So talk about baby KJ. I'm not sure how popular baby KJ is here in India, but it caused quite a bit of exciting reactions when this was introduced here a few short months ago in the United States. So little background here on baby KJ. This came to us through our collaborator at the IGI, or Institute of Genomic Institute. And this is UCDs. It's a rare disease affecting largely infants. And if untreated, it has harmful impacts that are fatal within a very short period of time. So this was brought to us, and when looking at this from a Danaher perspective, we have many solutions and the pieces all together. What it really takes is commitment, resolve, and the expertise and a program team to go manage. How can we bring a solution to save lives? Baby KJ it pulls on your heart in terms of what has been able to be done here. And that's what drove a lot of our team to work day and night here to find a solution. This was the first mRNA-based CRISPR gene editing solution brought to market to save a life in the world. And that was handled and driven and fueled by Danaher. That's not commonly known as well. If I go to the next slide, you'll see on the bottom, these are all the companies and teams that work together on the baby KJ solution. And this is how we took and compressed a 3 to 5 year drug development and 1.5 year manufacturing process down to less than 6 months. So again, we had the core scientific expertise and technology in place to drive this. We put together a project team consisting of Danaher, associates at our operating companies, and all of our partners here, and we got to work. And we were able to drive an impact to where baby KJ was treated. Baby KJ is now healthy and happy, and it brings a great deal of pride and satisfaction that we're able to make a difference here and save a life. But this is just an N=1. And so fundamentally here, we are now assessing how do we scale this up? How do we scale this to solve other rare diseases where a gene editing solution can provide an immediate impact on saving lives? And that's the journey that we're on right now moving forward within Danaher operating companies, with our collaborators. N equals 1 is not enough. This needs to be N equals several thousand. And it's hard for me to understand exactly how we're going to get there, but you've got a committed team of scientists and leaders at Danaher that are committed to driving impact here in the industry and to drive that to be N equals several thousand in how we treat critically ill disease in patients. And the real value that Danaher brings is we have all of the critical pieces in place. And so now we just have to find a way to how we can scale it. And that's in process right now. We're getting a lot of interest in terms of funding and resources from governments around the world that have been enamored with what we did with baby KJ, being the first gene editing mRNA CRISPR solution. And we are in process of working with them so we can scale this up in the best way possible. So, very exciting story here that we're working on. And with that, I want to close by just saying thank you again for coming. I'm thrilled to be here. And we have an exciting program here, and I'm really looking forward to listening and learning from our distinguished guests in the next part of the program. Thank you very much.